On behalf of Catherine Steck McManus, President and CEO of Habitat for Humanity, Greater Orlando and Osceola County, and our Board of Directors, welcome to the on-demand orientation session created as an introduction to the Cornerstone Housing Framework workgroups. Over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll review content critical to building the common understanding needed to enable you to participate more fully in future workgroup sessions. By the conclusion of this virtual orientation session, you'll be able to answer 3 fundamental questions. Why is it necessary to face the housing crisis? How can such a complex issue be addressed? And what will it take to succeed? First, let's focus on the why we are asking you to face the housing crisis. You are participating in this orientation because you care about our community and its people. You are listening now because you want to make a difference in the future. Take a moment to think about your family, friends, colleagues. Are any of them having trouble finding housing that is affordable? If you think about it, I bet you have a story of someone close to you that is personally facing the housing crisis. Keep them in mind as we move through the next 20 minutes. The headlines are clear. There's no escaping the reality. An overvalued market, can't afford to live here, residents are suffering. We find ourselves entrenched in the middle of a crisis. But within the heart of every crisis lies an opportunity to unite, to innovate, and to rewrite the narrative. The numbers are hard to believe. In the 10 years between 2012 and 2022, the cost of an entry-level house more than doubled. It went from $140,000 to $316,000. And updated data indicates that in the first quarter of 2023, that median sales price for an entry-level house is up to $325,000. Fewer than 1 in 4 homes sold during the last quarter of 2022 were considered affordable. A look at rental situations suggests that the problem is deeper than we thought. Only 16% of workers in the Orlando metropolitan statistical area have jobs that pay enough to comfortably afford a 2-bedroom apartment. 16%. The evidence is crystal clear. We have a housing crisis, and it can't be ignored. The numbers, the stories, the challenges faced by individuals and families all point to a pressing reality. It's time to confront this issue head-on and work collectively to find solutions that make housing secure and affordable for everyone. But why Habitat? Throughout our organization's nearly 40-year history, we have built homes, communities, and hope. More than 800 homes built or repaired. Thousands of people helped. That sounds worthwhile, doesn't it? It's made a tremendous impact in so many families. However, it's not enough. As much as we want to, we cannot solve the housing crisis alone. Recognizing the urgency and gravity of the issue, our board and staff have chosen to not shy away from it or give in to the status quo, but rather to lead with boldness and purpose, to serve as a convener and catalyst guiding the integration of a collective impact framework. In other words, we must do something and do it differently. And we think we have a way to tackle the problem together. However, we must remember that so many people are working towards solutions, making a difference in their own way. Our efforts will not be in isolation, but rather a part of a greater collective movement. We're simply adding our energy to an already existing momentum for positive change. The crisis has the attention of numerous sectors and stakeholders, each contributing their efforts to find solutions. And while the following list is by no means exhaustive, it's a testament to the widespread dedication in our community to resolving this issue. The nonprofit sector, also known as the independent sector, consistently steps in to fill gaps and bridge the divides. Their tireless efforts are instrumental in addressing the housing crisis and ensuring that support reaches those who need it most. The corporate sector is also making a substantial contribution through their workforce housing initiatives. Their commitment showcases a collaborative approach to addressing the housing crisis and underscores their recognition of the importance of stable housing for their workforce. And our local municipalities are demonstrating commendable diligence in supporting and addressing the needs of their constituents. And the state of Florida has taken a significant step forward by passing the Live Local Act, which represents what many are calling the most significant legislation targeting housing in the state's history. Now, let's not sugarcoat the reality. This issue is massive. It's a complex knot of issues, a Gordian knot, if you will. We refer to housing as the Gordian knot, drawing from the legend of Alexander the Great, who encountered a wagon in the city of Gordesius. The wagon had not moved for hundreds of years. An ancient oracle had predicted that whoever could untie the wagon would be destined to be emperor. After wrestling with the knot for some time, Alexander the Great took a step back, drew his sword, and declared, "It doesn't matter how the knot is loosened," and he cut the knot with his sword. Alexander would go on to conquer Egypt, and as the oracle predicted, he became emperor. Housing is indeed a Gordian knot, but we've learned a lot in the 3,000 years since Alexander the Great. The power is not in one person, but the collective impact of us all. Solving the Gordian knot of our era requires bringing the understanding of many to bear on what seems an unsolvable puzzle. By joining the growing numbers engaged in the Cornerstone Housing framework, you strengthen our effort to loosen the knot. So far, we've combined data analysis and legendary stories to frame the housing crisis in a way that creates awareness of the issue and moves our community to action. To this end, we launched a public awareness campaign with real Central Floridians who have struggled to find affordable housing. The campaign was born out of a profound commitment to address the issue at its core and create lasting change. By centering the campaign around the authentic experiences, we aim to break the barriers of indifference and elevate the urgency of this pressing challenge under the umbrella campaign, Face the Housing Crisis. The campaign was launched after dedicating more than a year to rigorous research and conducting insightful interviews with subject matter experts and those directly impacted by the housing crisis. As a result, we are thrilled to announce the creation of 2 essential reference tools for our community. The first is the Charter for Collective Leadership, a guiding document of the process that outlines the path toward united action. The second is a comprehensive research compendium, offering an in-depth resource for those seeking a deeper understanding of the issues. The compendium provides background to the distinctive features of the Cornerstone Housing framework outlined in the Charter, including systems thinking and policy integration. These tools are a testament to our commitment to fostering informed, collective action for lasting change. Please understand that we are not claiming to have all the answers. We don't. However, what we've done is challenge ourselves to take the following steps. In essence, our goal is to serve as a catalyst and provide a roadmap. We aim to raise awareness in the public that housing is important to us all. And through this, we will establish and drive forward a dynamic partnership involving multiple stakeholders. Through our dedicated efforts, a pioneering collective impact model has emerged. This innovative approach rests on 3 essential conditions that are pivotal for achieving the potential of collective impact. 1. Common understanding. 2. Shared goals that define success. And 3. A unifying structure and process to facilitate collaboration and coordination when it comes time to implement. In fact, it is the structure and process of the initiative that distinguishes it from both legacy and ongoing efforts to drive change. We are introducing the Cornerstone Housing Framework to provide the logic and structure for a comprehensive process to drive collective impact. The Cornerstone Housing Framework includes 6 phases. The first, policy framing, seeks to establish action as a community imperative. The diagram you see illustrates housing as the cornerstone of community health and well-being. Housing is the cornerstone for individuals, families, and our community's progress toward prosperity for all. Research is clear: better health outcomes, improved quality of life, and with a systems view, the housing frame continues to create multiple connection points for multi-stakeholder partnerships. Building on the public awareness campaign's call to face the housing crisis, Phase 2 marks the ongoing call for collective leadership. Collective leadership is different from traditional top-down command and control models of leadership. It builds shared vision for change, leveraging diverse skill sets. It requires flexibility to adapt. It empowers all those to engage, bringing their own strengths while acknowledging our interdependence. Relying on open communication, collaborative decision-making establishes shared responsibility. And with feedback and reflection, trust serves as the currency that ultimately redefines collaboration. A network of peers committed to mutual respect can then embrace the work of building shared understanding. The work of building shared understanding in Phase 3 is shaped by the formation of 3 work groups, each aligned with the Cornerstone Housing framework. Initially, all 3 work groups meet together to learn the principles of systems thinking that guide participants through process workshops and systems mapping, stakeholder analysis, and root cause analysis. Although shown as a distinct Phase 4, considerable effort must be made to ensure the entire process establishes and maintains community alignment. That is, the Cornerstone Housing Framework underscores the importance of giving voice to the participating communities, making sure the initiative integrates the values and priorities of local residents. Phase 5 reflects the sharing, reflection, and deliberation of the work groups into planning for action. Scenario planning documents action steps to move from the current state, or what is, to a set of desired future states, or what we'd like it to be, with corresponding outputs and outcomes that can be measured and tracked to document progress. Policy integration leads to a shared advocacy agenda, and innovation pilots bring to life the coordinated programs and services that pursue short-term, small-scale wins and long-term systems change. The resulting action plans emerge with resource needs, roles, and responsibilities, with mutual commitments documented in agreements or memoranda of understanding. Phase 5 moves from planning to action. In Phase 6, collaborative innovation pilots begin under a collective leadership governance structure, formed with representation from funders, residents, and engaged organizations. Implementation is guided by developmental evaluation, which represents innovation and measurement. Developmental evaluation goes beyond traditional forms of program evaluation and is designed to help organizations and initiatives adapt and learn as they navigate uncertain and evolving situations. It provides real-time feedback to collective leaders and stakeholders. This enables them to make informed decisions and adapt their strategies as they gain insights from the evaluation process. Innovation and measurement will facilitate continuous learning. It emphasizes ongoing learning and adaptation rather than simply assessing the success or failure of a project. This is crucial because community development initiatives, like the Cornerstone Housing Framework, involve multiple stakeholders, and the goals and strategies may change as the project evolves. As we begin the innovation pilots to be introduced in targeted communities, we look to innovate with integrated policies and a collective advocacy agenda for change. Both will be produced and sustained as perpetual action made possible by redefining what it means to collaborate. The concept of systems thinking has been mentioned several times so far. Let's take a deeper dive to understand its importance. Systems thinking is the foundation of the structure and process prescribed by the Cornerstone Housing Framework. Wrapping our heads around systems thinking and its implications for addressing the housing crisis can hardly be overstated. It turns on its head how we think about the wicked problem we face. Systems thinking will challenge to the very core our assumptions about problem solving, so much so that we can count on being frustrated and uncomfortable. Throughout the process, it will be necessary to remind the delegates participating in the Cornerstone Housing journey to let go of the long-held mental models to embrace this new approach. Systems thinking is a holistic approach to problem solving that contrasts with traditional rational and mechanistic modes of problem solving in several ways. Systems thinking recognizes that real-world problems are complex and interconnected, involving multiple variables and feedback loops. Traditional approaches often simplify problems by breaking them down into linear cause and effect relationships. And while traditional approaches assume these linear cause and effect relationships, systems thinking acknowledges that outcomes may not be proportional or predictable, and small changes can lead to significant nonlinear effects. Systems thinking considers feedback loops and how changes in one part of a system can have ripple effects throughout the system itself. Traditional thinking often overlooks these feedback mechanisms. Systems thinking takes a holistic view, as we've mentioned. considering the entire system and its context. Traditional approaches tend to be reductionist, breaking problems into smaller parts for analysis. Systems thinking encourages the inclusion of multiple perspectives and stakeholders in problem solving, recognizing that diverse viewpoints can provide a more comprehensive understanding. Traditional approaches may rely on a single perspective. Systems thinking tends to prioritize long-term, sustainable solutions, recognizing that short-term fixes may lead to unintended consequences. Systems thinking recognizes that systems can exhibit emergent properties, qualities or behaviors that arise from the interactions of the system components. Traditional approaches focus on analyzing individual components in isolation. Systems thinking embraces change as a fundamental aspect of systems and explores how systems evolve over time. Traditional approaches often assume a static or a steady state environment, the perpetuation of the status quo. Systems thinking promotes adaptability and the ability to respond to changing conditions. Traditional approaches may be less flexible and resistant to change. In the end, systems thinkers come to terms with the reality that systems cannot be controlled. We can shape and respond, which is the reason the Cornerstone Housing framework must be viewed without an ending. Systems do not end, neither can the process of working to secure the desired outcomes from that system. Nothing could be more true than when dealing with the housing system. To conclude our orientation session, we turn to a familiar set of questions addressed by a leading change agent, Simon Sinek. His Golden Circle addresses 3 questions at the heart of inspiring cooperation, building trust, and powering change. Our adaptation of the Golden Circle asks 3 questions as well. Why are we acting? How can this be accomplished? What will it take to succeed? The answers form our overarching mission statement: restoring the social and economic benefits of a balanced housing system through innovation pilots and collective leadership, public policy, and community reinvestment. That is the Cornerstone Housing framework. Yes, the challenge is daunting, but with new tools we can rise above the challenges, defy the status quo, and inspire others to join us. Our collective dedication and collaborative spirit will empower us to overcome any obstacle that lies before us. We need you to engage in the Cornerstone Housing framework. Participate in the process. We look forward to seeing you at the next workgroup session. Together, we will face the housing crisis.